Welcome, friends and fellow adventurers. I'm Alex Reed, the DM here for Cocked, a real play D&D podcast, and your guide to the Lands of Manassas. Let's get into the cast introductions as we go around the table, and they answer the following question about their character. What does your morning routine look like?
Okay, gosh. Hi, this is Alex Groves. I play Aegard, the Firbolg Druid. Aegard's morning routine, he usually wakes up right around when the sun comes up. I mean, it's usually pretty regular. And, he has some light morning stretches he does. Communes with nature a bit. He's a druid, if I haven't mentioned that before. And sometimes he casts Goodberry. Sometimes he doesn't. He's a little scared too at this point. But his routine is just usually starts off pretty quiet. Again, just waking up with usually the other animals and everything wherever he is sleeping. So.
Does he do that grounding thing where he has his feet in the dirt and just
Nope, he's not a plant. He's not in the dirt like that. I mean, but he does. I mean, if there's a stream nearby, he'll take a little bath.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Kadie. I play. Nope. Hey guys, this is Jessica Reed. I play Kadie, a dragonborn fighter. Kadie's morning routine is basically waking up and doing a little bit of light meditation.
Did you say waking up as part of her routine?
Yes.
That's good. That's always good.
That is important for her to open her
up.
eyes and wake up. And then, she does some meditation, and then she goes on about her day. That's about it. Nothing too crazy.
Hi, I'm Reggie Morris. I play Brakka Ultim, the Kobold Artificer. Brakka's morning routine is essentially just creating or modifying the elixirs he already has. He tries to wake up probably around the same time Aegard does, just ahead of the group, so he can have an hour to do all that sort of stuff before the group starts heading out and whatnot.
Hey guys, it's Connor Joyner. I play Ibron Ironmane, the Leonin Ranger. His morning routine is he's usually up before dawn, and usually what he'll do is he'll throw his gear on, check his weapons, check his equipment, maybe throw a braid or two in his mane just to keep it out of the way. And then usually he'll go try and find breakfast and make sure that the others are up and going. If he's pulled the late watch, because he is a little bit not nocturnal as lions naturally are. So that's his routine.
Cool.
Yeah, I would think Ibron would probably be the more strict as far as his routine would go.
He is.
The exact same thing.
And his evening routine is the exact opposite. He's going to check everything and then lay it out so that way he can go right into it.
Yeah, Brone's very regimented. I'd say Brakka's probably a little bit more
Brakka's
hectic.
very chaotic in the morning.
And then the other two are just kind of reconnecting with nature and their inner selves.
Brakka probably almost dies every morning.
But don't forget waking up.
Elixirs.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. It's part of the routine. The first part of everybody's routine is waking up.
I do everything
It's
before
very
I wake
important
up.
to identify that first step.
Well, Aegard didn't mention that,
Alex.
so I guess he's just always asleep.
Makes sense.
Aegard sleepwalks to the stream.
He does.
That's how he wakes up. He puts his toe in the water.
Ooh, that creek is chilly.
So where we last left off, the party was on Brilla Thulane's farm. You guys had met her on the road. She apologized for leaving you and explained the situation that she had been in, how three individuals approached her and basically claimed the deed to her land, and that she had gone back to Port Savorsa, but she felt like she was trying to be stolen from, so she didn't trust anybody. But she had seen what you guys had done and realized that you guys were there for the good of everybody rather than people trying to swindle her. So she trusted you. She explained to you the situation, invited you back to have a decent place to rest for the night, not necessarily out in the wilds. Upon returning to her farm, you guys noticed that the pig pens were destroyed. She ran over there. However, Brakka and Aegard, looking up the hill, noticed that the well at the top of the hill looked very similar to the house that the hag was in. There was quite a bit thriving around it, but as it went out from there, it started to die. And upon investigating the well, you guys found a stone that was a smaller one than what was around the hag's hut, but it was still doing the same effect to the land. And I believe we left off there with Brakka and Aegard discussing the stone, and Brilla was crying, walking up the way, headed towards her house.
She headed to the house, or she was headed towards us?
She was headed to the house.
Okay. I'm trying to think of how exactly we ended. I thought we discussed the stone and then we put it in the.
Yeah, you put the bag or put the stone in the bag of holding.
Yeah, in case we didn't get that far, yeah, we looked at it and discussed it, and we put it in the bag of holding, and then
Yeah, I believe you guys pulled it off with a cloth.
Aegard basically took one of the mini pouches he has.
Yep.
And
Just
used it
used
almost
as
like a mitt
yeah.
to grab it, and then didn't feel any effect from it since it didn't touch his skin.
Yeah, and I think then you guys put it in the bag of holding, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Okay, cool.
So when you put it in the bag of holding, did you still have the mitt on?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Do I pull my mitt out of the bag of holding?
Well, it's just a regular coin pouch, right?
I mean, it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
That mitt comes back out.
Okay.
No stone on it.
Yeah. Okay.
But the next person that has to pull the stone out either has to have
oh, yeah, I
a
understand.
mitt on, or they're going to be touching it with their bare hand.
Or just turn the bag upside down and say, stone.
There
And
you
it
go.
pops right
There
out.
you go.
So the bag pooping it out.
Yep,
So-
science.
Science.
Okay, so it's getting dark, right? Isn't it kind of the end
Yes,
of the day?
it was reaching dusk. The sun is starting to go down.
Okay, so Aegard would see Brilla, and she's looking kind of distraught. I guess flag her down, and
She is walking, like not looking at you towards the house.
Okay.
So you can approach her.
yeah, Brilla,
Yes.
what is wrong?
All my hard work, all the pigs that I've been raising, they're gone. They destroyed the pens. I looked out at the pastures, and it's just destroyed. Everything I've worked for, all of my animals are gone. Everything is just destroyed.
Okay. Do you want us to go and look for your pigs?
No, I don't know how long they've been gone. I haven't been here for over a week now.
But does your house look the same? Is there anything wrong with your house?
From the outside it looks fine, but I don't know.
And is this a barn?
Yes, I don't remember the door being cracked, but
Is there anything that we can do since we are here?
I really need to get some rest. I need to kind of sit down and think and decide what I'm going to do. I need to rebuild pens. I need to figure out where to get animals from, and
Okay, you go in and rest, and we're going to continue to look around. But
she kind of nods to you and says, "Thank you. If you need anything, I'm going to start making food. It'll take a little bit, but if you guys are hungry, I can
why
make a
don't you
little
just
extra."
go and rest and not worry about food for now? Just rest.
Okay.
Where's Brone? Is Brone?
Ibron is near you.
Okay. Aegard will then turn to Ibron and Brakka and say, I say we take a look at the rest of her property and see if there's anything else, see if we can find any of the pigs if they've gotten loose or anything. See if there's anything damaged, see if we see the effects of any more stones anywhere. And before we rest for the evening.
It might also be beneficial if we check just inside of the tree line, just to make sure that there's nothing watching us.
Is there like a tree line nearby?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go check the tree line and see if I see any tracks other than these farm animals, and I'll be back in a little bit.
Okay. Brakka, do you want to go to the barn with me and see if If there's anything we can see there.
Sure.
Okay, so we head to the barn. Brock and I.
Go ahead. As you approach the barn, are you wanting to just kind of walk in?
I mean, we can do perception checks or whatever, just to
Yeah,
be
absolutely.
observant
You can do
or
perception
investigation, whatever you would rather us do.
I would say perception walking up to it.
Okay. My passive, or Aegard's passive perception is pretty high.
What is it?
Passive perception is 18. Wisdom's his thing, so.
So as you're walking up, you do notice that she had mentioned that the door wasn't like that. As you get closer, you see that some of the top hinges have been kind of pulled out of the wood. Like something was pulling on it.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, there's not a lot to go on.
Okay. So open the door and.
So as you open the door, it's not a smooth opening. The top is kind of at an angle, so it kind of drags on the ground. And you notice that there's no marks like that until you start to open the door like that. So whatever broke this either didn't go in or pushed the door back up and opened it regular. But you notice that this door is making a fresh track as you open it, and it scrapes across the ground. You guys enter in and go ahead and make an investigation check.
Nope.
14.
14. You notice there are tracks for about 4 creatures that most likely are cows, because this is a barn. And they don't go the direction you came from. They go back the back of the barn, and that door is wide open. That door wasn't damaged or anything like that.
Okay.
At least from the side that you're standing on.
Yeah, Aegard does not see that, so.
So the cow tracks heading. There's another door.
Yep.
On the outside of the barn.
The
That
back
one-
side of the barn.
That one's not damaged or anything from what we can see.
Not from what
here.
you can see from here.
Okay.
But just wide open.
Brocker's just gonna walk over to it and see if the door is damaged or not.
Okay. Go ahead and make an investigation check on it.
17.
So at first, you feel like there's not much wrong with the door. You're looking at it. But as you start to look, you can see marks from the inside that looks like something slammed against it a couple times. And as you're walking around and you actually walk outside of the barn, looking at the door all the way around, there was what are those called? The wooden pieces that go across?
Yeah.
I mean, it's an old lock.
They used to lock it, yeah.
Yeah. There was a wooden
Beam.
across there that was broken in half. Now that you walk out and you look at it, you can see where it wasn't cut. It was
Like
shattered.
broken, yeah. Like
Yeah,
something ran into
most likely the cattle or whatever was in here rammed into the door hard enough to break that open. And you feel like maybe that was what took place when something was trying to get in the front.
Okay. Is there any like blood inside of the barn?
There's a little, but not a lot.
Okay. Like just in a random spot or like near one of the doors?
Near the doors that you just walked towards.
It's near the back doors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Near the back doors.
Okay. Brakka will say to Aegard, it's very likely that something came in here, burst its way in here, and attacked the cows. That's why there's blood here, I'm assuming. And the cows being scared, obviously, I'm assuming burst their way through the door. That's why the door over here is broken, and he'll gesture towards the beam that should be going across the barn doors,
Okay.
or the pieces of the beam, rather.
I say we close up the barn on both sides, and then let's head out the back of the barn to see if we see any kind of tracks or anything else.
Okay.
See if we can follow anything. So we close up the front of the we try to get Jimmy the door to where it's closable and everything, and then we'll head out the back of the barn and close that door. Obviously the beam is broken, but I'm assuming the doors can still close.
So you're able to fix the door as best you can, but that top hinge is still, it was pulled out of the wood.
Yeah.
So it would have to be something where you make new holes for it type of thing and move it. So you get it as best you can without having to do that.
I want to go back to the front door and just real quick and possibly do an investigation check to see if I can see any like claw marks or any like noticeable like indentations like on the door besides any
Okay.
signs of it being broken in.
Okay, go ahead.
Natural 20.
You do see claw marks.
Okay. How big are they?
They're not extremely large, but you've seen claw marks like this before.
Does Aegard look down at his chest and see a scar possibly that looks like the same kind of claw marks?
They look bigger than that scar.
Okay.
Okay, so it's Aegard, could you put your hand up to the thing? How big is it compared to like Aegard's hand?
It's bigger than Aegard's hand.
Okay.
Could Aegard do like a nature or history check? With
Yeah, Brakka would like to do the same.
With your natural 20, you don't even need to.
Oh, okay.
You're pretty sure that this was a dragon claw that made this mark on this door.
Okay, so
It was Kadie.
Brakka slowly beginning to realize that his heart's gonna begin to like beat out of his chest and his eyes are gonna go wide and he's gonna kind of like fall backwards when he realizes it's a dragon claw, and he's just gonna start to like frantically like look up in the air.
I'm going to do an insight to see if Aegard picks up on this. 24.
I mean, I think it's fairly obvious that, well, yeah, he's not trying to hide the fact that he's like panicking right now, because Brakka's normally like calm all the time, like he's cold all the time,
Right.
and it's very odd for Brakka to be like panicked about anything.
Brakka, what is wrong?
He's just gonna like when you say something, he's just gonna kind of look at the barn door again with like a 1,000-yard stare, and he's just gonna say just like in Draconic, just dragon.
I do not know what you're saying. It's something to do with these claw marks. You know what these are?
He's just gonna like he's just like repeating it like to himself like over and over again, just like looking at the barn door.
Okay. We broke Brakka.
Oh no! So early.
Brakka would probably, after like a few seconds, like shakily stand up and just say it's a dragon claw.
I have not seen a dragon before. It doesn't appear to be too large of a dragon, though, as far as I understand. If
It's not. It's larger than when you do your primal savagery, but it's not like
yeah,
outrageous.
I'm just saying it's
Yeah.
not. It's not like an
it.
ancient dragon claw that
Right.
just wiped out the whole.
With the natural 20, could I gauge whether like if it's like a young one?
You feel like it's younger. One of the things that kind of makes you turn your head kind of sideways is there are 4 claw marks, not 5.
Okay. So he'll calm down a lot more and start to actually think, since that's weird to him.
Brakka, if you need to go inside the house, I can continue
No,
on.
it's fine. I'll be okay. It's weird though. There's 4 claw marks instead of 5. Dragons have 5 talons, not just 4. I mean, there is a good chance that it, for whatever reason, only used 4, but that seems odd to do.
Yeah, Aegard has no knowledge of dragons, so he's not gonna. He's just gonna whatever you tell him. Okay. I'm going to search the other side of the barn and beyond. So, if you want, again, you can come with, or I understand if you're uncomfortable, you can stay behind?
Oh, I'll be nearby. I'll just be here, just looking at it to see if I can get any more out of it. I'll join you in a second.
Okay, Aegard goes to the other side of the barn, the back of the barn, and starts seeing if he can find tracks and start to follow.
So you do find the tracks. You find tracks of the cattle that left the barn. Make an investigation check to follow.
Natural 20.
Okay. You're able to follow them. They go. They don't have any rhyme or reason. They're not necessarily the most intelligent creatures, so they're just kind of moving around until they hit the tree line. And as you enter into the trees, you pause for a moment and make a perception check based on hearing. I don't know if you have advantage based on hearing.
I don't. It's a 26.
Okay, 26, still good. As you get into there and you kind of pause for a minute, you start to listen and you can hear kind of the snapping of twigs and like something is probably grazing nearby.
So, how far away is that sound?
I mean, it's close by.
Okay. So, Aegard is going to use one of his natural traits, speech of beast and leaf, and just basically speak to whatever animal is out there. I do not know who you are or if you're one of the animals of the farm on the other side of the trees, but I mean you no harm. We are here to find you if you're one of the animals that left the farm after something must have attacked.
How does that trait work? Like, do they have to
you
have
can
a certain
communicate
intelligence?
with nope. You can communicate with, though not understand beasts and plants, and have advantage on charisma checks to influence them. So there's nothing listed as far as a requirement on their end.
But they can't speak back?
No, they cannot speak back.
Okay. So what you heard was the crunching and it kind of slows down. It's like, like it's
Yeah.
contemplating
Aegard would know
something.
that they're not
Yeah.
intelligent animals, so
Yeah.
he would start to walk towards them, and he has the spear, obviously lit, so they're probably going to see him coming.
Yeah.
But I do not mean you harm. I am here to help. Please do not be startled. I am approaching.
So as you say this, and you find another little clearing almost in the trees. It's not very big, but there's enough for some grass to grow. As you get in there, you see 3 cattle just kind of grazing and looking around, and one just kind of stops and looks at you.
Whatever drove you from the barn where you live is gone. We are friends of Brilla, the person who takes care of you. So I would like to take you back to the barn now. I'm afraid of your safety in the trees, in the woods.
Make an animal handling or persuasion check, whichever one's higher.
Well, I have advantage on them if it's charisma, so animal handling, or you said persuasion?
Yep, animal handling or persuasion, whichever one's higher is fine.
That is a 15.
15? That'll do it.
Okay.
You kind of you see it kind of look at you, it kind of turns its head, and then the other 2 pick their heads up and look at you. What are you doing from there?
Just, can you come with me? We're going to go back to the barn, and because you're her name is Brilla. I know she doesn't, probably you don't know her name, but she's very worried about you. Apparently the pigs are gone, and she's very worried about her animals, and she would like you back home tonight.
So you say this, and as you start to slowly back out of the tree line and back into the pastures, you notice that all 3 of them kind of pause for a second, and then they just slowly start to walk and follow you.
Okay.
And you're able to get them all back to the barn.
Okay.
They don't startle or they don't have anything. You do notice there's some hesitancy when you get to that barn door.
Sure.
And they kind of are like looking up and around in the rafters, and then they walk in and go into the pens that are in there.
So to make them feel as good as I can, I'd like to try to replace the beam that was shattered or something to secure that back door at least.
Do you have like mending or something like that?
I don't have No, I would not have mending right now.
I mean, I would say you could just slide that piece of wood, like push the one broken part out and slide the other one over.
It's like a shorter piece.
Yeah, it's just a shorter piece, but yeah, that would still be enough to close that door and lock
And then
it.
I'll sit there and kind of shake the door. Maybe make it look like I'm shaking it a little bit more than I am. See, you're safe in here. So, I guess they have water. I don't know, make sure
they have a trough and everything. You do notice that one of the troughs, which had like their food and that in it, is knocked over.
Okay.
It looks like whatever was trying to get in here knocked that over. But two of them go to where one lays down in a stall, and the other two are just eating hay off the ground.
Okay. Well, I would pick that stall up. Is there any food on the ground?
Just like some hay and some corn and that had fallen on the ground.
Scoop it up and put it in the trough, and I will let Brilla know that you were here. Thank you very much for coming home, and we're going to make sure this other door closes tonight to keep you safe.
And one of them kind of walks over after you put the food in there and kind of like just slowly rubs its head like against your arm and then turns and keeps eating what's in the trough.
No, just scratch its neck, roll. Yeah. And so Brakka, I found at least 3 of the cows. So we just need to secure this door to make sure, they're safe for the night. And we'll go tell Brillo that at least we found 3 of her cows.
So Brock is just sketching in his notebook just what the dragon claws look like, and just essentially just noting like dragon claws and that it's a young dragon, and he like without looking at it, he just nods.
So then whatever I can do, what are we going to do to make sure the door is secure for the night?
I mean, it's pretty secure. It was tough for you to open.
Okay.
That's why you had like dug into the ground itself. With that hinge broken, the door kind of leans, so it digs into the mud and into the dirt. So it's a little more difficult to open unless you lift it up and open it. But even then, you notice if you lift it up and open it, it does make like a distinct like, and it's pretty loud.
Yeah. Okay.
Like even inside the house, you're pretty sure you could hear that.
So since that's done, do you want to go to...
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll go to Ibron. You guys are finished the cows, but at the same time, Ibron was searching. You went to the west, or Aegard went to the west to find the cows. Ibron entered and approached more the north side.
So what I'm looking for are game trails and in any sign that any of the farm animals have gone into the woods. So I'm going to make a perception check just to see if I see any tracks.
Well, if you're looking for that specifically, I would make an investigation check. Because if you're looking for something specific, it would be more investigation than perception.
19.
Okay, so you are able to find tracks as you walk towards that edge. And
what kind of tracks do I see?
Based on your background, you're able to notice that they are pigs.
Pigs.
You do find the pig tracks. It looks like when they got out, they kind of were in chaos. You notice a couple tracks go out and around, but they do all kind of come back together. And it looks like maybe these hogs all went into the woods at the same spot. They weaved around out in the fields and then all kind of got back together. And you feel like there's like 7 or 8 that disappeared through this area just based on the tracks.
So what I'm going to do is follow these tracks because they've created their own game trail, if you will. So I'm going to keep following it until they either disappear into the because is there brush in the tree line or what's it?
Yeah, there's brush. There's it's like any woods you walk in.
Is there a clearing?
Not
at
that you
any point?
initially see.
Okay, so the deeper that I go in, I'm noticing that the tracks are getting.
Make a perception check as you go.
Let's set 6.
Okay. You are focused on the tracks and looking down at the ground. Go ahead and make an investigation check on those tracks.
8.
8. So you're focused on the tracks and they're kind of moving around. But as you get further and further into the woods, they start to get thinner and thinner. Like they're not. It almost seems like the hogs themselves got lighter, but you know that that's not the case. Just their tracks start to get more shallow, pushing into the dirt as it gets into more hard ground.
So my passive investigation is a 14.
Right, but I had you roll for it.
Okay.
So the roll supersedes whatever your passive is.
Okay.
So you're a little distracted, and you're a little out of your element here, as you went from more of like a muddy terrain to more of a solid ground terrain. You can't necessarily continue to follow their tracks, but you know where it looks like they kind of dispersed to.
Yeah.
They're now no longer in a group. They kind of all shoot off on their own, but it's hard to continue to follow because it is such hard ground here that they didn't really leave indentations.
Would it be a fair guess that something was tracking them or following them?
You're not really sure.
Okay.
You don't see any other tracks of anything else. You just see the chaos in the field into the woods.
So at this point, since the trail is essentially going cold, I'm going to go ahead and turn around and make my way back to the farm and find Aegard and let him know that this is what I found.
And so, yeah, it takes you probably like 15, 20 minutes. And while you're doing that, Aegard is walking down kind of the path from the barn as you emerge from the tree line. You're kind of back behind the house, but as you guys kind of walk together, you're able to meet just outside the house and have this discussion.
Brakka would like to just, I guess, stay behind. Just at the barn. He'll let you, Aegard, know that he's just going to stay behind, and he'll meet you guys back at the house.
And what was Kadie doing while all this was taking place?
Kadie was in the house. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought.
I said I was tired. I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
at some point, and so she would have gone.
Okay.
I followed the tracks as far into the woods as I could before it seems like they just scattered after a while. What did you find?
Well, we found obviously something attacked the barn. Brakka feels it's a dragon. Now,
A dragon.
he feels as though it is a young dragon, perhaps by the size of the marks it left. I followed the tracks from the barn and were able to find 3 of the cattle, and they had just gone into the tree line and were grazing, so they followed me back to the barn, and they've been secured in the barn. I'm going to spend the night outside just to make sure, everything is fine. I believe as late as it's getting.
I think it's probably best that we go ahead and stay here, and just for the sake of argument, I'll stay out here with you.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then maybe tomorrow morning we can assist Brilla, and see if we can find her, any other animals that may have gone in, and then also, the barn can use a little work, and I know she said a pen was destroyed, so maybe we can help with that. So let's go inside, and then we'll let them know what we found.
Sounds good.
Brakka, you're staying at the barn?
Yeah.
So, it's at this point, you guys walk in, you see Brilla and Kadie were actually sitting there, and Brilla has this 1,000-yard stare, just kind of looking at the wall, but she has a hearth, and she's got a fire going. So Kadie and Brilla were just kind of standing there, and you just hear Brilla, and she says, and that's pretty much why I went to Port Savorsa, was just to get this. And Brilla and Kadie were just having a conversation of why she was on the road type of thing. And just kind of recapping what you guys had talked about when you first saw her. And Kadie, I would say you kind of feel like her repeating this was her kind of trying to get herself back to reality. Like she is, you were sitting there listening to her talk and she's very scared.
Would you say that she has a pot or something that's near the fireplace?
Yeah.
And some water and stuff? So Kadie would be making one of her calming teas while Brilla is retelling her story and just like, oh my goodness, that sounds very frightening. I'm so sorry that you had to deal with that. We'll definitely try to do what we can to help. I'm gonna make you some of this tea.
Thank you. And my pigs, my cows, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to start completely over.
Brilla,
Yeah.
we were able to search the area a little. How many cows did you have?
4.
All right. We did find 3. They were in the tree line grazing, and I brought them back to the barn. We have secured the barn. Brakka is still out there investigating a little bit. Ibron may have found signs of your pigs,
Okay.
but we will. It's getting late, so we will search out tomorrow morning to see if we can find any of them. And I think we do have rather urgent business we need to get to. But Kadie, Ibron, do you feel as though we could spend a day here to help, Brilla with her pens and fixing the barn and see if we can find the pigs at all? Do you think that's something we can?
I think it's something that we could do.
I'd appreciate that, but if you have more pressing matters and more important business,
I think making sure that your home is safe takes precedence at this time, at least for your peace of mind.
I appreciate that.
Brilla, or I don't want to alarm you, but in the area, do you have any large beasts or anything that people have any kind of trouble with? Have you heard of anything in the area at all?
I've heard some strange stories from Evorgos. I've heard it was anywhere from 6 to 8-legged creatures, demons. I've heard some flying creatures, but I've never seen any this close. I do know that as a child growing up, we didn't live in only Guamora. My family had a place near Evorgos as well, but we, I guess, downsized after my father passed away to here. My mother sold that land, but I remember stories that my grandmother used to tell me of the Golden Fang Forest, and that there were creatures and beings in there that were not of this world.
Mm-hmm.
I never understood what she meant by that, but she said it was a magical place.
Yeah, I know what she speaks.
But
I don't want you to worry about those things because, there are certain things in this world we can do nothing about. We will, again, stay tomorrow to help and do what we can for you. And we'll leave the day after.
thank you. And I'm sorry again about on the trail. I misjudged all of you. I apologize. When the tea's done, she does take a sip. Loves it. I rolled a 17 for how much she liked it.
Nice.
Loves the tea. She gets up and she's like, "I'm very sorry. I'm distracted. Do you guys plan to stay in the house? There's not much room, but we do have room in. I know it's a barn, but we do have room in the barn. And at this point, Brakka, are you in the house at this point? It's been probably like half an hour. Are you still outside?
Yeah.
Okay. And she kind of looks around. She's like, and you're the small friend. If he needs anything, let us know. There is, if you go straight out behind the house, there is a small, it looks like it's made of like tree branches and that. If you go on the inside, there's mud in there, and there's actually smoked meat. There should be smoked meat in there, staying good. So if you guys need anything to eat or a snack, what's mine is yours. I really do appreciate everything you're discussing doing.
Ibron and I had already discussed staying outside the barn to keep an eye on things. So, are you saying that there's no additional room in the house for Kadie or Brakka?
No, there's. If you guys can find a spot to sleep in here, you're more than welcome to. You all can if you'd like to. It's not.
Sure.
A,
we
sleep
will stay
anywhere.
outside if you want to stay.
That's fine. I'll stay inside with you so you don't feel alone.
I appreciate that. And she walks into another room and pulls out. Comes back with a blanket.
A blade.
In the blanket. And she comes back with a blanket and she kind of hands it to you and she looks at you and she says, thank you for staying.
Kadie, could you make sure there's enough tea for Brakka as well? He was quite shaken by.
What happened to Brakka?
He could use some tea.
Where is he?
Well, actually, if I can, I'll show you where he is.
Okay.
And kind of escort Kadie outside.
Yeah, and I'll follow Aegard.
So when we're outside away from Brilla,
It's a good choice.
Brakka did find, it looks like a dragon is what attacked the farm. Small dragon, young dragon, but a dragon nonetheless. It appears that Brakka may not be fond of dragons. That's why I was saying maybe have a little extra tea for him.
What?
I don't know. He didn't say much.
Okay. Well, let's go find him and make sure that he can get some of the tea.
Okay. Yeah, you could maybe get him to come back inside, then Ibron, you and I can find a place to.
Yeah, see if we can get Brakka to come inside. Okay. All right. Where is he?
And we just go to the barn.
He's
Brakka?
just still at the barn, just
Still under Draconic is going black, 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 black,
babbling and draconic. Brakka, this whole time, he essentially just wants to try and see if he can figure out what type of dragon it was. I know there's not a lot to go off of since it's just a claw mark, but any maybe residue from a breath weapon or anything in the indentation from the claw mark itself or anything or any footprints or anything like that.
So now that you have seen that claw mark, roll a history check.
23.
You remember a strange mark inside the well. It wasn't very deep. It was kind of shallow. But it did look like it could have been claw marks, but it was something that you weren't looking for at the time.
Just something I
But now that
remember
you're
now.
tracing that, yep, you're starting to remember it.
Where did which well are you talking about? The well in the farm or
The well on the farm that you guys found the small stone
This
in.
is a big well.
What was? Oh, that was that chair. I was like, yeah, what was that? No, so the well is probably like a 4x4 circle.
Okay.
So when you look at it, it looks like something maybe tried to reach in
and, put something
and
over
scraped along
Right.
the wall.
Okay.
At the depth that it was that stone was at, the claw marks were above that.
How deep was the stone in?
I think we said it was only like 2 feet
You
or
just
so.
reach
Yeah,
down
yeah.
to get it. So
Yeah.
it wasn't-
So essentially, something either held itself up or reached in and dropped something there or put something or grabbed something or
It
whatever.
reached into the well and left some claw marks on it
Okay.
above the stone.
above the
It
stone.
was trying to get the stone.
But on the inside of the well.
It's on the
So
inside of the well.
probably
Yes.
too big, couldn't fit or
Big
whatever.
stupid dragon.
But now that you know about that, I would say Brakka, probably remembering that, would maybe go look.
Yeah,
At the well?
Brakka would spend a little more time. He'd probably walk around the barn just a little, probably 2-3 more times, and see, like I said, if I can find any distinct footprints that aren't animals, maybe something Aegard missed.
So this is all taking place while they were inside having their conversation. So,
Give me that look.
so you can do what you want because they're having their conversation inside, which was 15, 20 minutes long, standing in there. So what would you like to do?
So he knows that Aegard went to the back, where like the back of the barn. So he knows that when he says something Aegard maybe missed, because he knows Aegard checked one spot. That's it.
It's fine.
So
He's also not as low to the ground as you are, so
right,
it's
yeah,
perfectly fine.
And if he sees a big footprint, I mean, Brakka would probably notice it more since he'd be standing in a big footprint.
Right.
So yeah, Brakka is gonna walk around the barn like a few times and look for more distinct footprints that aren't, like barn animal like.
So you don't see a lot of footprints. You do notice that there are some, like, I guess what they would use for shingles back then, like some of the thatch and that's up on the barn is blown off. There's some on the ground in areas where you wouldn't necessarily expect it.
How high off the ground are the shingles?
So the barn is like a 2-story barn.
Okay.
So it's about, say, 18 to 20 feet tall.
Okay.
But as you walk around, you find other areas where it looks like this creature may have perched on some of the fences. You find some claw marks on the fences and things like that, specifically towards the back.
Towards the back of like the farm? Mm-hmm. Okay.
You see that it had perched at one point on one of those fences. As you continue to walk around, you don't necessarily find anything other than that
Okay.
from the barn.
Right. So, keeping the well thing in the back of his mind, or at the front of his mind, rather, Brakka will check, like, kind of to the surrounding buildings of the barn.
So as you go out from there, you do see some marks that are out in the fields that are full, like, footprints. It seems like most of the footprints have 5 claws or 5 imprints in, except for the left front imprint appears to only have 4.
So, it's left hand or left claw. Okay. But they're all very, like, draconic-like, though? Mm-hmm. Okay. Brakka will just, like, in his notebook, just write down that it's a left, like the left arm or the left claw of this dragon has only 4 claws for whatever reason.
And it's still, just for future reference, the claw that it is missing would be more of like its, I guess, for our hands, of the pointer finger. So it has like 3 that come down and
there's
one that
one
came
really
across.
low.
Yeah.
Okay.
But there's seems to be another, like, one missing.
Okay. So Brakka, seeing that, I guess if there's more footprints, like, leading out from the barn area or just from, like, the field, he'll, like, follow them, like, until they're just gone, like, assuming the dragon took off.
So it looks like it's almost like it landed at certain spots and then took off. And it looks like most of the prints that you found were near the well and along the fence.
Okay.
By the barn.
How far is the fence from the barn?
The fence is probably about 5-10 feet away from the barn.
Okay. So it's like right there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And again, I don't really think there's any way, since it's just like claw marks and like footprints, but is there any way I could maybe tell what type of dragon it is?
Not at the moment.
Okay. Brakka will just take note of all that, and then he'll go back to the well and look in to see the claw marks that he recalls.
So as you look in the well, you do see coming up, even though there are 4 scrapes, it does look like, again, that was probably the left front one that it was reaching in there.
Right.
There's no claw marks past where you got the stone from.
Is it like just like a claw, like it drug up all the way from the well, or like it was?
There's a couple spots that look like it drug up along the walls.
Okay.
Like it's reaching down.
Right, and it couldn't reach, so it
trying to
kept trying
scoop up
again.
or something.
Yeah. Okay. Brakka just wants to do a quick investigation or perception to see if there's anything else in the well. He doesn't think there is, but just in case.
Okay. Go ahead.
Which one?
I'd say probably investigation if you're trying to look specifically at the well and at the interior.
Only an 11.
Only an 11? You don't find anything else. You do notice that structurally, where those claws are hitting, that side looks a little weak, like it had pushed the stones out, but not necessarily that it's going to collapse, but like over time it might need some work done.
Okay.
It loosens some of those stones for sure.
Okay. Brakka will he'll just sit down just like by the well and just start taking notes of everything and just kind of chill out there for a little bit just doing that.
Okay. So as Kadie and Aegard leave the house, Aegard, do you immediately look towards the barn?
Yes.
And Brakka is not there, but as you scan the rest of the farm, you do see him kind of sitting next to the well.
But would Aegard be able to? Because he doesn't have dark vision. He just has the spear. So.
Well, it's not extremely dark yet.
Okay.
It is getting dark, but you can still, I would say you can still see shapes. It's not pitch black. You still have some moonlight and that I would say it's more like the gray colors.
So looking at the barn, I will then go, oh no, Kadie. Did the dragon come back and get Brakka? He was at the barn.
What? What?
No, he's over at the well. I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Okay. We're gonna have to work on your pranks for certain things. Yeah, I know. He starts collapsing, laughing hysterically at himself.
They
Oh
are
my
getting
gosh.
better. You're right.
You should have seen your face.
Brakka.
Oh my gosh.
I'm waving Brakka over to us.
Brakka just waves. I mean, that's about it. He's just writing stuff down.
Hey.
Would you go get him, please?
Yeah. Well, I'll go see if I can.
And then, Ibron, do you want to go to the barn?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay.
So Kadie will go towards Brakka.
Okay.
Brakka.
What?
We're going to turn down for the night, so we're going to come into, you and I are going to sleep in the house, and I believe Aegard and Ibron are going to stay outside just to make sure, nothing comes about.
There's a dragon somewhere.
I heard that's why Aegard and Ibron are going to stay outside, so that way we can make sure that Brilla is okay. And I made some calming tea, so if we want to go into the home and get by the fire, we can sip some of the calming tea and make sure we get some sleep.
But there's a dragon in that area. It's a dragon. What would calming tea do against a dragon?
Well, it's not for the dragon, it's for you.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. Katie's not going to be good at this. The calming tea's for you, so we can try to get some sleep, so we know, what we need to do in the morning to figure this out.
What? Do you have any idea?
I don't know. I would have to meditate on it and see if I can, because not right now. I have no idea. I've never seen a dragon. I know that my grandmother, I'm sure she had some adventures in regards to dragons and all kinds of beasts from what I heard in my childhood. But it doesn't necessarily mean I know how to go against them. But, that's what the calming tea is for, so that we can just, relax a little bit and figure it out in the morning.
Did you drink some of the tea already?
No.
You should.
Okay, you want to come back to the house with me and we can drink some tea?
I honestly think you probably need it more than I do.
Well, okay.
That's probably a lie. I don't know what could calm me right now, but
This is very effective. I assure you, I am very good at my calming teas.
Brakka will just kind of just nod, and he'll just stand up, and he'll just like clutch the amulet that he has, and just walk with you back to the house. All he's thinking is like, what would our Pip do in this situation? That's all he's thinking.
Yeah, all Katie's thinking is, what the fuck is she gonna do? It's like, oh my god.
So you guys are going back to the house?
Yeah. Should we roll for the calming tea at all? Oh, we're gonna wait.
What were you doing?
We were
When
going
she-
to the barn
Yeah.
to find
Okay.
a place to sleep for the night.
So, you two are approaching the house. I'm sorry. Kadie and Brakka are approaching the house. We'll jump over to Aegard and Ibron. You guys are approaching the barn.
Make sure head to toes.
True. Do you want to stay inside the barn and I will stay outside?
I'll stay outside. with
Okay.
you. It doesn't matter.
Okay. I will stay inside. I think having someone inside the barn would help keep the cattle calm for the night. So Aegard goes by the little mud hut smoker thing that Brilla told him about, and just grab something really quick. And
Yep, you can grab there as you like get to it. It's like a 5x5, like little. It almost looks like a small barn, right? 5x5. But as you kind of open the little hatch at the front, you see that it is just like lined with meat that has been like smoked, and is just that's where she keeps it to smoked and salted. That's where she keeps it to stay good.
just grabs a little bit and
Okay. And when
gets
you
just inside the barn. And
pull the door closed, and then you get inside the barn, do you go in the front? I'm assuming.
yeah, because the other side is where we beamed it, so it can't open.
Right. So, go ahead and how are you opening the door?
Same way we did before.
Okay.
Probably, I mean, kind of lifting it up and I
Okay.
guess,
Yeah.
and-
That's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So as you guys are approaching, you guys are having your conversation, and you start to approach the house. You just hear this, and it's from the barn as it's opened, just because it's not really aligned correctly
Yeah.
any longer. So it's extremely loud
yeah.
when that barn door opens.
And as I'm entering, friends, do not worry. It is me again, speaking to the cows.
And you notice that all three of them are laying down, and only like one kind of lifted its head up and looked when it heard it, and then just went back to sleep.
Yeah. And then basically going inside the door, we'll close it behind me. And then I want to get adjacent, like basically just right into one of the corners to where if something were to go into the barn, I might be immediately behind it. You know what I mean?
Okay,
Something
yep.
like that.
So basically, you open the door, close it behind you, and then turn to your left and go to that nearest corner.
Just in the corner. Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
And I'm gonna he's gonna cover up the spear so it's not shining,
Okay.
and eat the meat and go to sleep.
All right. Ibron, what are you doing outside?
I'm gonna walk around the perimeter and utilize my my dark vision. I'll walk a little ways off and just circle, like once every 15-20 minutes. But before he settles in, he's gonna poke his head inside the barn and ask Aegard, "Do you have a minute to talk?"
So you just hear,
Yeah.
hey, you got a minute to talk?
Yes, Ibron, what can I do?
So now this is going to catch Aegard completely off guard, but he's going to start talking to you in Sylvan.
Okay.
Hags and dragons. I saw how you reacted when you rescued me from that house.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible that these Sisters of Night are potentially driving these creatures to act abnormally? And mind you, Aegard doesn't realize that Ibron knows Sylvan.
Yeah. I'm surprised to hear you speak such an old tongue, my friend.
Please keep this between.
Of course,
The
no.
two of us.
Of course, I will. The Sisters of Night have a long history with my people. Surprised to see that they are back, though. We've always stored that they would likely return at some point. I do not know. Actually, before I go into this, can I do a history check to see if there's some sort of relation between dragons and 'cause in normal lore, there's no real relation between
Right.
hags, but I want to make sure in this.
Yep.
Let's see. That's a 16.
There's no correlation between the hags and the dragon. The only correlation, well, no, because you don't know what Brakka found at the well
Right.
yet, so there's not much of a correlation to you at all. That's just it's just strange that there's a hag and a dragon in the same area. That's not normal.
Right.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it could just be a freak accident
Right.
or a freak occurrence, not an
Okay.
accident.
So we'll go back to the conversation. I've never seen a dragon. I have no interaction with dragons. It is not part of the history that I know of with these hags to have any kind of relation with dragons. Now, that does not mean things have not changed. I just do not. I feel as though we may be looking at just a coincidence.
I don't necessarily believe in coincidences. Would this swamp area where they are, where I've heard you speak of them being, would it be worth an investigation once we leave here?
Yeah, very much so. And that's why I plan on everyone that we pass by that will listen to tell them of, the Sisters of Night and where we at least have heard they are currently presiding. And, of course, the interaction that they've had with Brilla as well. So they are obviously making their way more and more inland, which we need to let people know about.
If you decide to go after them full on, I'll go with you.
I appreciate that. We cannot let them exist here.
After what I experienced and what I saw, burn them all. Salt and burn them. So
I know.
after the this conversation,
Yeah.
he keeps it real short. Ibron's just gonna spend the night out patrolling because he can't sleep.
Okay, then you're going to have a point of exhaustion the next day if you're not going to sleep at all.
He'll sleep for a couple hours.
No, you have
Oh,
to sleep
okay.
for 8 hours or you have a point of exhaustion.
Okay.
But he can do it in a couple hours and then do a patrol. I mean, if
Yeah.
then it'd be,
Would that
it'd be
work?
8 hours straight.
Okay. Then
And it's really early in the evening too, right?
yeah.
So-
Yeah.
Okay, then that's what I'll do. And also, would it be able? And also, what I'm going to do before I settle in is along the tree line, in spots where I saw the footprints, I'm going to cast alarm so that way if anything does come in, it will alert me, and I can let you know. Would that be possible?
I don't think you can do it multiple times.
Okay.
No, you can only have one alarm.
Yeah, you can only do it one time.
Okay.
Is
They
there?
can only fill
I
a
think there's a
certain area.
certain distance too.
Yeah,
right?
there's
Okay.
a certain distance,
Yeah.
a certain area. You can
I'm
use it.
still learning all of
Oh
my,
yeah, no.
all of my ranger spells.
It's a good thought. It's a great thought.
I'm gonna put it right where I saw the pigs' footprints go into the woods in case they do happen to come back. I'll be alerted to that if they come back through that way.
Okay.
Yeah, and after the conversation, Aegard, you can make sure the door is secure.
Yeah,
Hunkers
and
down in the corner and goes to sleep.
then that is what I'm going to do. And so every couple hours, I'll get up and patrol.
Okay. Brakka and Kadie enter into the home, and Brilla is sitting there in front of the fire with her cup still kind of sipping on the tea. What would you guys like to do?
Well, we're just going to walk in, and I'm going to go over to where the tea was steeping, and gather some for myself and Brakka.
Okay. Do you guys want to have any conversation with Brilla, or are you just kind of sit in silence and sip on the tea?
Brakka will ask, so what do you think of all the stuff that you found at your farm so far? What do you think of all of it?
Well, I think I'm going to have to start over completely.
Well, yeah, but besides that,
We did find some animals from what Aegard and Ibron were saying. So we are going to drink some calming tea tonight just to settle our nerves, and then we'll get a good night's rest, and we will try to help Brilla tomorrow. Brakka, we were going to stay a day to help her try and rebuild her pen and resources and whatnot before we move on.
well, I probably won't be much of help doing that.
That's okay. Everybody has a job. We will figure it out.
Okay.
I do appreciate you guys staying to help. Brakka, you seem pretty handy with elixirs and things like that, and like taking notes. Maybe you could help kind of around doing that stuff. I've got some questions about some things I've noticed before I left.
Well, go ahead and ask them.
Well, for starters, have you ever seen anything like what my well's doing? It's like
that stuff all around it, that sort of thing.
yeah, but it's like it's around the well is very healthy and thriving, but then it's like as it gets out like 5-10 feet from there, everything seems to be starting to die and decay, and it's strange, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you ever seen that? Is that like did somebody try to poison my well?
Well, it's not. No one poisoned your well. I mean, if somebody poisoned your well, everything would be dead, not just a specific area around your well or out from your well. I mean,
Right, that's what I thought too, but I don't understand why it's like a circle. I don't understand what it could be. It started like, I don't know, probably a month or so ago, and I keep trying to figure out what it is.
well, it's not poison. So, what other ideas do you think it might be?
I mean, that was kind of the only idea I had.
What's not that? Any other questions?
Yeah, how do I get that area to grow back?
How long did the forest even start growing back when we put the gem or crystal in
It
the bag
was
of holding?
almost immediately we started seeing the
Right.
effects.
You
changing.
started to see some effects changing?
Yeah.
Brakka will say, real quick, hold on. He's gonna run outside to the to the well to see if any areas like around it is regrowing.
So as Brakka takes off and like goes outside of the house, and Brilla and Kadie are sitting there, Brilla kind of looks at Kadie and she's like, "He's an interesting little one, isn't he?" And just kind of sips on the tea, like kind of looking confused.
Kitty has both hands around her glass, just looking at her, and just sips her tea as well. Like,
Just-
and then she just like turns her head away, waiting for him to come back. Just like, no.
So Brakka,
My God.
he's just looking for essentially like similarities to the other area.
You have
where-
dark vision, correct?
Yeah.
Everything looks like it's starting to regrow. It's not completely grown
But
back
it's
yet,
rejuvenating.
but yes, it's
I
rejuvenating.
love he's gonna go out there and be like, I put some stuff out there. It'll probably be there in the morning.
I
Totally take
fertilized it.
credit for it.
So Brakka will just look at that real quick and we'll run back to the house. Oh, it's growing back.
Oh, thanks.
Any other questions?
Katie's shaking her head no.
No. Then she kind of gets up and sets the cup down and just walks into the back room and closes the door to go to bed. Make a perception check.
Rude.
No. And then that's all I needed.
Make a perception check.
Oh, sorry.
That's a 7. I don't know if it.
Ooh. Where's my perception? 16.
She drank like a quarter of the tea you gave her, but walked away like awkwardly and just kind of walked into the back room and closed the door after she tried to have a conversation with you and you just completely blew her off and like turned and looked around.
Yeah, she doesn't realize what's going on, like, because the dragon and stuff. So Katie's like internally freaking out right now. So she wasn't trying to be rude, but I can see how that came off that way.
So yeah, so you guys get into your areas. You get ready to bed down. Do you guys? It's just like one big open room, but I mean,
Right.
there's plenty of room for you guys to. There's chairs. There's a small little couch, and there's floor. And she brought out blankets. So
Brakka wants to, for maybe like 10, 15 minutes, pull out the mask and just mess with that.
Oh my god!
okay.
Oh, great. Brilla walks out of the room and
There's a
he turns
plague
around with
doctor's
just
mask.
Darth,
Oh my
Darth
god!
Brakka just. Hi, Brilla.
Oh
She is my
God.
mother. Wait.
roll a perception check outside in the barn.
In the barn?
That's how loud she screams when she sees the mask.
That's a 21.
Oh, yep, you hear it.
Oh my gosh! Stop it!
Oh, wait, which mask? Is it the one, the...
The plague
Yeah, the
doctor
plague
mask.
doctor.
Okay, not
The
the
one
one, not the one with the zipper on the mouth?
No, not that
Okay.
one. No, not that
I didn't know how the night was going.
one. Yeah, not that one.
Oh my gosh!
The camp.
But he's gonna pull out the mask and, I mean, he's never seen anything like this. I'm assuming before Cormier. He's gonna try to put it on to see if it'll fit. I highly doubt it will.
It falls off your face.
Okay, thought so. And Brakka essentially wants to try and just take apart the mask and just see how this thing works. Like he's gonna pull out like the schematics for it too, and just like pull out and just like try to disassemble it and like see each like corresponding part to the schematics.
Side note, I know which character I'm giving a cursed object to because he ain't even gonna think about it. He's just gonna put it on.
I mean, you know,
Kadie is on the other side of the room, and her back is to Brakka. She's like, she saw him bring it out, and she's like, "No, I had my calming tea. It's bedtime."
Brakka would have 100% put it on and like held it up so that it stays there and like turned to Katie.
So as you do that, Katie's back is turned to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Brakka will kind of like put his head down.
What will Brakka do?
Brakka seeing that, he'll just like put his head down because it was like it was gonna be cool.
Oh my god.
But then he'll just go to start disassembling it with the schematics.
So you're able to disassemble it and kind of pull it apart and that, and you're able, with the schematics, to take it apart, put it back together, start kind of better understanding it. And with that, we'll go ahead and... This is where we will end this week's episode. The party traveled to Brilla Thulane's farm only to find it destroyed and in disarray. The party realized that the well on the farm seemed to be thriving while the areas around it were beginning to rot and decay. It reminded the party of the hut they had just burnt down, where they found a strange, glowing bluish-purple stone. Upon investigating the farm, the party was able to identify that there was what they believed to be a dragon that had passed through the farm based on the claw marks they found in the barn and inside the well. Brakka and Aegard were able to find a mysterious bluish-purple stone lodged in the well. The party split up to watch over the farm for the night. Aegard and Ibron were staying out near the barn, while Brakka and Kadie stayed in the house with Brilla. Thank you, friends and fellow adventurers, for following along on this journey with our players. If you enjoy the show, please let your friends know about this hilarious podcast you've stumbled upon. If you enjoy the story and its characters, please follow along with the show, as well as our cast and crew and their social medias. All the handles and those links are provided in the episode description. If you would like to support the show further in a more monetary fashion, check out our Patreon and consider becoming our newest Patreon subscriber. The link is also provided in the episode description. Join the party next week as we begin with the party watching over Brilla's farm. Will they find all the livestock that appear to be missing? What clues will they find further as they continue to explore Thulane Farms?
I
Okay.
just want to say that I had a dumb moment when y'all were talking about the talons, and for some reason talons didn't register. So whenever you're like, oh, it's 4 talons instead of 5, I'm trying to figure out how a 5th arm can fit on this fucking dragon.
Well,
funny.
talon / claw, whichever.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
whatever.